I'm excited for this message. This message is episode 3 of our series called Again and Again and Again and Again and Again and Again and
It's
again.
just called Again
It's
and
just
Again,
called
guys.
Again and Again. But hey, the intro is amazing. I love the intro. It's good, colorful, and just like whatever. Anyways, my name is Chris. This is my beautiful wife, Monica. This color looks really good on you, honey.
Thank you.
I like it a lot.
I'm usually really like in black.
Dude, she loves black. Like, it's her jam. I tell her, be adventurous, like, be colorful. She says, zip it. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with
That's
anything.
about right.
Yeah, but that's about right. That's exactly what it is. But the reason I say this is one of my favorite messages, it's close to near and dear and close to our heart.
Yeah.
It is a struggle for us. And today we are talking about the habit of mental health, right? Mental health.
Yeah. Creating
those habits.
Yep. Habits that can either help or harm your mental health.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Absolutely.
We have been talking about habits in general through this series. Week 1, we spoke about our physical health.
Ooh.
Week 2, we talked about the health of our relationships.
Hey.
And this week, we're going to be talking about mental health.
Yeah.
If you missed any of those, you can go back and watch them anytime. We have all of them on YouTube, on social media, Facebook, Instagram. You can go to our website, and there's a whole archive of all of our messages.
That's right.
It's agapeonlinechurch.com.
Also, if you like these messages, share. And like our.
If you don't ever want to miss any messages.
Ooh, that's what my girl's talking about. Dude,
you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can put your notifications on, and then
do it.
You'll never miss any.
Because
you'll always be notified when we put up a new message.
That's right.
Okay, so mental health.
Oh,
like Chris said, this is close to us because both of us have struggled with our mental health. Like a lot of people out there, especially I feel like it's becoming more and more common, probably because of a lot of things. I don't know. There's a lot of theory going on around out there about just the world that we live in and how it ties to our mental health. And so we're not going to really talk so much about those things, but we know that it can be very serious, right? It has been for us. Sometimes you need medication, right? Sometimes you need to speak to a doctor. Sometimes you need to speak to a counselor. Sometimes you need professional help, right? For me, I needed all that, right? Serotonin was not firing in this brain of mine. And so there's nothing I can, do about that. Now, like we talked about last week, all of these things, the physical health, the relationship health, your mental habits, and next week we're going to talk about spiritual habits, all of them tie together, right?
That's right.
Had I just gone to the doctor and said, hey, doc, I'll take a pill, it wouldn't necessarily work all by itself, right? Most of the time, you need to have all of these pillars in place. You need to be taking care of your body, right? You need to eat good food and not a ton of sugar. You need to drink water to flush out the toxins. You need to exercise to get your endorphins going. You need to sleep, right? Sleep is so important. You need to do all of those things. You need to have the support in your relationships, right? You need to have good, healthy people around you that are contributing. And then lastly, like you still need that extra help, that is like a piece of the puzzle, okay? It's not the whole entire thing. So if you feel like you're in that place where you need professional help and you don't know what to do, you don't know who to call us.
Give us a ring.
We will do our best to get you hooked up with the resources that you need.
That's right.
In order to do that.
That's right. We've gone through this journey, and it's a hard one. And we feel like we have enough resources to be able to help you out. And I will highly suggest getting a counselor. I don't care if your life's good right now. just get a counselor. Right? It's like an oil change in a car. You're like, what does this even do? And then you don't get it, and your car breaks down, and da 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 da.
We need constant reminders.
Yeah,
you
need
guys.
it.
Yeah,
you need it.
Constant maintenance, constant reminders. Like,
that's right.
It doesn't just come naturally to just do all the things in life, right?
That's right. You nailed it, honey.
We can sit back and say, oh, like that guy just is good at all those things. Well, it's because we try, right? It's because they put in an effort, because they keep practicing, right?
That's right.
And so we need constant reminders to stay in tune with the habits that we need to create to bring about good and healthy things in our lives.
Man, so good.
And part of that counseling and therapy is just learning how to be introspective, right? Learning how to look at yourself and why you're doing the things you're doing. Because when you know why you're doing them, it is so incredibly helpful. It is way more likely to stick than if you're just doing it to check off a box, right? Just like our relationship with God, just like this whole Christian lifestyle, if you want to call it that, right? Like, it's not about checking off the boxes. Not at all whatsoever. It's about figuring out who you are, who God is, and what that looks like together, right? His love for you, his undying love for you.
That's right.
And behaviors and habits that are just a matter of, oh, I did this today, check the box. I did that yesterday, check the box. That means I'm doing good. That isn't a heart and soul transformation. It's just, I'm trying to behave in a way that people will find gratifying and good and praiseworthy, right?
That's right.
It has nothing to do with what our heart and our soul and all of those things are transforming to become. This whole series, we've been talking about Galatians chapter 6, right? I'm just going to kind of paraphrase. It basically says that we all need to be liable for ourselves, right? We all need to take pride in our own selves and our own actions, that we will reap what we sow in this life, right? You do good, you reap good, kind of a thing. That if you sow to please your flesh, you are going to reap destruction. If you sow to please the Spirit, you will reap eternal life. And it tells us that we'll reap that good harvest if we don't give up, if we continue to do good things again and again and again. Right?
That's a key component to this, and that's the last verse we're going over, verse 9, right? And that's the last part of it. It says, if we do not give up. If we do not give up, keep doing it again, and again.
This week we're talking about our mental health habits, right?
Whew.
And
oh man, honey.
The reality is the Bible tells us that we have the ability to renew our minds, right? We have the ability to renew our minds. Just because you've lived life a certain way for so long doesn't mean you have to stay there, right? So many of us give ourselves like these limiting beliefs, if you want to call it that, and where we just say, yeah, I'm just not a motivated person.
It is what it is.
I'm just not really into that kind of stuff. I'm just not really like a reader. I'm just not really like a gym kind of person. I'm not like a hug kind of person, you know, or like there's people that
I am. I love hugs. I'll give you an air hug. Come on, guys. Bring it in.
And sometimes it can be positive. Like a lot of times when you meet people and they like you put your hand out to shake their, and they're like, oh, I'm a hugger. Come here. And you're just like we put those labels on ourselves. Like I'm a hugger or I'm not a hugger, right? I'm a toucher. I'm a not a toucher. Like, and we put all these things on ourselves, and it's like, no, you have the ability to renew your mind. If you want to be a hugger, you can be. Like,
absolutely.
We say things like, oh, that's just not me. Oh, I don't wear red shoes. That's just not me. Like, I can't do that.
I'll never say that.
I can't wear red lipstick. That's not me. Like, whatever it is. Like,
here's a fun fact about me. I say just do it.
Just do it.
Like whatever it is. Like you want to spike your hair, spike it. You want to wear yellow shoes, wear yellow shoes. Like just try it. Why not? If you put them on and you're like, oh, I don't like this. Okay, then don't. But just try it. Right. Be adventurous. God has called you to try things like this. Just live a life where you're like, okay, the mindset I had yesterday is gone now.
Right.
Like whatever happened, whatever that person said to me, it's not going to affect me for today, the rest of the day. Like That is the thing we need to understand. The renewing of your mind is a powerful thing. It says in Romans 12:2, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by what? The renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. Okay, I like that. I need to renew my mind daily. Daily. I will tell you this. If you are struggling with mental health, which I'd say everybody is, hate to break it to you, right? In some way, shape, or form. If you can renew your mind every single day, it will help you tremendously. Tremendously.
And we're sitting here talking about, like what kind of shoes you can wear, whether you hug people or not. But it's like these limiting beliefs and these things that you have stuck in your mind can go so much deeper than that. And they can be so much more dangerous and detrimental to your life, right?
Man.
Because we start to believe things like, I'm not lovable, right? I'm not worthy. I'm not beautiful. I don't have a purpose. I'm not good at this or that. All right. There's so many things that we start to feel about ourselves that we start to believe are true, right? We start playing these things over and over again in our mind, and we forget that we have the ability to renew our minds, that we have the ability to step back and say, hey, like, actually, God said I am lovable. I'm going to choose to believe it today, right?
Yes.
God said I am worthy. I'm going to choose to believe that today.
Yes.
God actually sent his son to die for me. That's how worthy he thinks I am. I'm going to believe that today, right? I'm not going to believe the things I believed yesterday because somebody else told me, right? Somebody else put it in my brain that I'm not worthy, that I'm not lovable, that I can't have what everybody else has, right? That I'm not allowed to have happiness or joy or peace, right? That my life doesn't have to be turmoil all of the time, right? We can renew our minds every day because then we will be able to accept what God's will is. And his will is good. It's pleasing and perfect, it says, right? He has a purpose for your life. He has a will for your life, and it's good and pleasing and perfect. But we have to let go of whatever we've been taught in all the days leading up to today, right, to this moment. And we have to start looking at what God has for us. That's how we renew our minds every day. We look at what God has for us, right? Ooh. So how do we do this? How do we renew our minds? The first thing that we have to do is we have to protect our mind.
Wow.
We have to protect our minds. We have a lot of stuff to protect it from, right?
Oh, my word. Too much. Well, we always talk about that too. It's like, man, no matter what, like you have so much information going in. We all do. Like we have to realize that there is so much, whether people are telling you something, whether you're reading something, like there's just so much, and it could get so overwhelming. And that's where you can get so depressed. I don't know what I was saying. Depression. Depressed and feel anxious, and you feel all this like negativity. And I will tell you this, it comes from not protecting your mind. Right. What is going in your mind, right? Like what is going in?
I think that a lot of us get confused with this one too, because we automatically just start to think of things like, oh, I have to protect my mind, which means I can't watch porn and I can't listen to certain songs, and I don't want to know about this person or that person or what's going on, and like we have to protect our kids from living in this world, and like it's not that, right? No. I mean, most porn is not good. You shouldn't watch that, for sure.
No,
but like there's like a lot of things where it's like we just think about that kind of stuff, but it's not necessarily that, right? It's about creating your own boundary. It's about having too much stuff in your mind, right? Dude. Because we're constantly doing this, right?
Dude.
Our minds are constantly like scrolling and scrolling and scroll. Like our attention spans have gone from this to this. Like our kids can barely even watch a movie.
Nope.
They want something that's 10 seconds or 30 seconds long.
Here's the craziest part. This isn't just from us. Yeah. Like there are studies out there that show that this is a very bad thing for young people.
Right.
Very bad thing. I just took our daughter to get her shots. She had to get some shots for school before she started second grade. She's a big girl now. But it was amazing. This was the first time we've seen this doctor. Our original doctor, he was booked for a couple days, and we needed to get her in pretty quick. And the doctor comes in, and it's super nice and amazing. Like the dialogue he had with Presley, our youngest one, and he goes, he says, "Do you know what this is?" Whips out his phone and points it to her, and she's like, "Yeah, I know what that is." And he said, "Are you doing this nonstop?" And I'm like, "Oh my word, this is good." Like, I'm just gonna sit here and this is good. This is awesome, because this is exactly. I'm like, yes, that's why I paid you. I love it. I love it. I said, if nothing else, if the shots don't work, I paid you for this. This is good. And he's like, "Okay, so I got a question for you. Are you on the phone all the time?" And she's like, not a lot. Like, I watch it, YouTube and, whatever, that stuff. And he's like, "Okay, well, when your dad, that's your dad. When your dad, when he tells you get off, do you get off?" He said, "Because if you don't get off, you're addicted to it." Yeah. And I'm like, yes. Oh my word. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like, this is so good. And he said, it is not good for kids to be on their devices. And he said, you can be on it when your dad tells you to be on it. Mm-hmm. And when he tells you to get off it, don't even say 5 more minutes, because that means you're addicted. Yep. Right? She comes home and tells Monica right away. Yep. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Doctor said if you cry when your dad tells you to get off the phone, that means you're addicted.
Means you're addicted.
Awesome.
Right? If I tell you right now, get off your phone, you're going to cry. Yeah. I mean, it's just funny. I mean, we talk to our oldest daughter about this all the time, because she's been struggling with just life, right? She's just turned 18. There's a lot of stuff up in the air. But I mentioned to her, I was like, unfortunately, with culture and the way you have, well, not the way you were raised, but the time you were raised, this is a big deal, your phone, right? And I told her a lot of this stuff is brought up because you aren't protecting your mind. You're on the phone way too much. You're comparing yourself way too much. Am I purty? This girl's purty. Well, who says that, right? Like, all of these things, they're doing this, I'm not doing this. FOMA, afraid of missing out, right? All this stuff. It's not just her, it's us. We're doing the same thing. You as an adult, are you able to put your phone down and say, "I'm good"? Try it for an hour. Dude, it's difficult. I struggle with it, right? And this is part of it, of like protecting your mind, right? You have to protect it. Monica said it well. Get some boundaries up in your life.
Well, like we talked about earlier with seeing a counselor or whatever, or trying to learn how to become introspective, trying to figure out how to look at yourself and the things that you're doing, and to question yourself and all of those things. Because these boundaries are going to look different for everyone. For
Absolutely.
me, I'm like, I don't watch scary movies. Like, other people do, and they love them. I can't do it. It causes anxiety in my life. It causes me to be fearful. It causes me to lose sleep at night, right? And I need these things. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to protect my mind from those things that cause harm to my daily life, right? Some of us will, you go through a breakup, right? You break up with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, and then you sit in your room and listen to sad songs all day. Well, is that going to help you to move forward and feel better, right? Like, or are you going to just make yourself feel worse all day long, right? It's knowing your weaknesses. It's like, taking somebody who's on a diet into a donut shop. Like, why would you do that to yourself, right? Or an alcoholic to a bar, right? We're not going to do those things because it doesn't make sense, but we do it to ourselves all day long, right? I can't even really watch the news because I will go into a place where I feel overwhelmed, where I feel like there's too many problems in the world and I don't know which one to address. And I feel like I need to do something about everything. And then you're paralyzed, right? And so many of us have this these days, right? We have way too much information. We know what's going on in Africa. We know what's going on in Paris. We know what's going on in Russia. We know what's going on here in the United States and in China and everywhere, right? And we know what our neighbor's doing, and we know what somebody in New York is doing. And that girl that we went to second grade with, who now lives in Pennsylvania, oh, I know what she's doing. Like, why do we know all these things, and do we need to? And is it helpful or is it harmful, right? And having knowledge, of course, it can be helpful to a degree, but too much is too much. Too much of anything is too much, right? It's not good.
That's right.
And we end up in that place, like I just spoke about, where you feel paralyzed because you have way too much and you don't know which direction to go and you don't know what to do with it all, and you can't even categorize it in your brain, and your brain is going, I don't know where to put this, I don't know where to put that. And like, I mean, you look at our dream, we've been talking about how weird our dreams are lately, and it's like you just have like way too many things floating around in there, and then you go to sleep at night and you're like, oh yeah, I was riding around in a Ferrari with our neighbor and like this guy from first grade, and you know, like this person showed up, and like it's just the weirdest stuff because we have so many weird things that we're seeing every day as we're scrolling through our phones.
That's right. That's right.
And as our kids are watching these YouTube videos, and as we're, you know, doing all these different things and talking to all these different people and going from place to place, like going from dance to soccer to basketball to this and that. And then it's like you have an overload of so much stuff going in your mind, and you cannot comprehend half of it, and it can't be categorized, and we all end up with anxiety. Surprise, surprise, right? We end up with depression. We end up with fear, and we don't even know where any of this stuff is coming from, right?
Nope.
Because we're just overloaded and overwhelmed. We have to protect our minds from so much more than just the obvious, bad words and this and that. It's not about all of that. It's about protecting your mind from the overload that we all experience in society today.
That's right. Number 2, this is what we're going to be talking about now. Feed your mind, right? Feed your mind. Right. And this is one of your favorite verses.
And it sounds kind of contradictory because it's like, first we're saying, keep it all out. But now we're saying, put the right things in, right? Put it all in.
That's the problem.
It's not about, because like we talked about in the first message of the series, right? Like we know what it is to have a physical diet, right? Like, you know, if I eat brownies first, I'm not going to be hungry for the carrots and the celery and the, you know, the turkey and the chicken breast and all that stuff.
Just
right?
breaks your heart. Why couldn't brownies be good, you know?
But if you get filled up on salad and chicken and all of these things, and then you can maybe have like a bite of a brownie, right? That's a little bit better than eating 6 brownies and then being like, nah, I don't want any carrots. We know how to do those things. And likewise with your mind, right? If you are stuffing your mind so full of junk, right? If we're just constantly scrolling, constantly looking outward, constantly taking in all of this stuff, whether it's watching too much TV or just all of it, right? Scrolling through too much social media, all of those things. We put so much junk inside, there's no room for the good, right? Or the good just gets lost in the shuffle, right? It gets lost in your mind. You can't retain it because there's too many other things floating around in there. Philippians chapter 4, verse 8 through 9, it says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever's true, whatever's noble, whatever's right, whatever's pure, whatever's lovely, whatever's admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. Right? He's saying, think about things that are good, right? Quit loading your mind with so much negativity. Like Chris said before, like he's allergic to negativity.
Allergic.
Right?
If you're negative and you want to come around me, bye-bye.
Now there's a difference in being able to communicate like your feelings and thoughts and like fears and stuff like that. That's all a thing. But just being negative for the sake of being negative, just to say something that, you know, whatever, like just to go off on rants about things that are actually gifts in this world, right? Rather than thinking about the good that can come of something, rather than complaining that you have to run errands. It's like, oh, I get to go to Target and I get to go to Lowe's and I have the money to buy the things we need there. And, you know, like it's about figuring out the positive within the things that you feel negatively about. Because a lot of us are going to have first like response emotions of negativity towards things, right? Like our daughter going to the doctor and I don't want to get shots, right? Well, of course, that's most of our reactions. Like, I don't want to get shots either, right? But if we can then step back and say, okay, like, yeah, I don't want to do that. It is going to hurt, but I have a doctor. We can afford to go get these immunizations.
That's right.
We can have these things and be able to go to school and be healthy and whatever it is, right? And I have a dad who can take me, and we have a car to get there. And, you know, it's like you can constantly find a list of 10 things to be grateful for every negative thing in your life. And if you can do that, that's what we call feeding your mind, right? Yeah. It's thinking about whatever is right? Instead of thinking about all the things that are wrong. Thinking about whatever is pure and lovely and good and admirable, instead of thinking about, like, what are the things I admire about my husband? What is he doing that's admirable rather than the 2 things he did wrong, right? Like, what is he doing right in his life? What am I doing right? What is good about me? What is good about God? What is good about this house and this life and this world that I live in? What is good about my friends and my family? Because it's so much easier and sometimes more fun to talk about the bad things, right? Like sometimes it's, you know, misery loves company, right? It's like we feel bonded to other people through our hardships and through gossip and through like all of these things. It's kind of, we think it's fun sometimes to be like, ooh, did you hear what she said? Did you see what she did? Like, I would never do that. He would never do, like, we all do it. And
it's terrible.
It's not.
It's terrible.
Yeah, those are the things you have to protect your mind from in order to feed your mind things that are good and lovely and pure, right?
You have to. This is crucial. Like, you just feed your mind with the right stuff, not just stuff. The right stuff. Mm-hmm. The older I get, the more I realize this stuff is so key. Is placing the right stuff in the right spot, like over and over again. Like, what am I taking in? How is my physical body? How are my relationships? Am I placing them in the right spots? I think that is so key, because it's like, whether or not we believe it, we're feeding our mind with something. We just are. Like Monica said, we're scrolling, and most of the time it's all like, it's good and fun, but a lot of it's meaningless.
A lot of it's junk.
And we put it in the wrong spot, right? We put it right in the front of our brain instead of like, hey, that needs to leave. There's so much that we can do in order to get the right stuff in our minds, right? Scripture. Read some scripture, right? Pray to God. Ask him, God, feed my mind with the right stuff. Allow me to see differently. Mm-hmm. All these things are so crucial.
And it's not really necessarily easy, and it doesn't come naturally.
No.
Like I said, like, it's fun to eat ice cream and french fries, right? It's more fun to do that than to eat kale and drink green smoothies. Sometimes it's more fun to talk about the negative things in life, right? We feel like we're getting it off our chest or something. I don't know. But just like eating the ice cream and the french fries and all of that, it leaves you feeling like garbage, right? Like, yeah, it was fun in the moment, but now you feel bad about it later. Right. Didn't add any benefit to your life. It just wasted your time, right? Now you can't get that 10 minutes back, and you didn't get anywhere, right?
Right.
You have to renew your mind by protecting your mind, feeding your mind, and resting your mind. Right? This is just like our bodies, right? We have to protect our bodies. We have to feed our bodies. We have to rest our bodies, right? Everything that is worth anything in this world that is good, you have to protect it. Yep. You have to feed it. Yep. And you have to rest it, right?
Yep.
Everything. Whether it's our relationships, our body, our mind.
Yep.
Our relationship with God, right? All of those things you've got to protect. You have to feed and you have to rest.
This is a hard one.
Yeah.
It is hard. Go ahead. Yeah, read Matthew.
Matthew chapter 28 says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened. Okay, we're going to be weary and burdened in this life. Bad things are going to happen. We're not saying that life is going to be roses, that if you just think of good things, only good things will happen. You're going to just walk around all cheery and awesome all the time. Like, bad things are going to happen. You're going to get weary. You are. You're going to feel burdened.
So true.
He says that. And then he says, come to me when that happens. When you do feel weary, when you do feel burdened, when you feel like you can't handle anymore, when you feel like you're just burnt out, come to me, right? Because my yoke is light, right? My yoke is light. He says, I am gentle and humble at heart, and you will find rest for your souls in Jesus, right? This doesn't just mean like go take a nap. When we say rest your mind, it doesn't mean just go take a nap, just go tune out and watch a movie. Go to Jesus, right? Go to Jesus. He is the one who is going to give rest to your soul. God works the night shift so you don't have to, right? God works the night shift so you don't have to. Quit worrying about everything that's going on in this world. Quit trying to spin your wheels and be in control of everything in your life, right? Quit thinking that you have to do all the things and be the savior of your family and of your friends and of yourself, right? Give it to God. Lay it at his feet. Right. Jesus said, I will give rest to your soul, right? Overthinking and overdoing and all of that, that's not going to save you from any of this, right? It's funny because the more out of control we feel, the more we try to control everything. And we just start spinning our wheels, doing this and getting nowhere other than burnt out, weary, and burdened. Jesus is the answer for that, right? You go to him, you lay it at his feet, you hand it over, and you say, I need rest for my mind, God. I need rest, right? There's too much. There's too much going on in this world. That's right. I'm going to give it to you. And I am going to focus on whatever's good, whatever's lovely, whatever's pure. I'm going to focus on the people in front of me and loving my neighbors, loving myself, and loving you, because that's what he's called you to do.
That's it. We're going to end with Proverbs 3, 5-6. It says, trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight. We're going to pray for you guys. God, we thank you for who you are. We thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercy. Lord, allow us to protect our minds. Lord, allow us to feed our minds with the right stuff. And Lord, allow us to rest our minds. Lord, allow us to be still and know that you are God. We thank you so much for the ability to think, for the ability to see, to learn, to hear. We thank you for all these gifts. God, allow us to protect ourselves and put up boundaries when it comes to our mental health. Lord, we need you. We need your son, Jesus. We say this in your name. Amen. Thank you guys for joining us. We hope that you were encouraged. We hope that this shed. Holy moly.
Oh, you're going to say this shed some light on you?
Yeah. That's good. No, that's what I was going to say. Gee, that's actually good. Yeah, I love you. I don't even know what I was going to say now. Oh, man. But we hope this was encouraging. Yes. We hope that if you are struggling with mental health, you will reach out. Yeah. Reach out to us. We can get you to the right people, get you some right resources to get you on this journey of just freedom when it comes to your thoughts. Mm-hmm. It's a hard battle. It really is. Don't do it alone. Don't isolate yourself. Let us know. Contact us through our website. We love you guys. Monica, you got anything else to say?
Nope.
You the best. Take care. Bye bye.